What is it you expect out of him?
So that's a pretty complicated question because for all the reasons that we've just talked about, like the inter-individual relationships between the different people are super important. But what I expect from a doc is not what the chain of command expects from a doc, is not what the platoon sergeant expects from a doc, is not what the battalion commander expects from a doc. It's all different. For our guys, they're usually pretty fresh out of residency. So this is kind of, a lot of times, this is generally their first duty station. Sometimes they have prior military experience. My first battalion surgeon was an infantry PL prior. With that said, we want you to be able to meet that, like the Ranger standard, like there's some physical things that you need to be able to do. I don't want to see you as a guy that's going to fail the 5 mile. That's crazy to me. I have to pass it. So you have to be able to pass it too. You have to be able to exceed the standard. In terms of your medical knowledge, like we understand that a lot of our surgeons are not like trauma specialty guys. They're usually family med guys, ER guys, and that comes with a ton of knowledge that they can offer us. But I don't expect you to be like immediately just crushing T-Tri-C. Like I got that. I got that you're off kilter. I get that you putting your knee on the ground versus standing up at a table is totally different. It's not the same at all. I also get that working in the dark is totally different than what you're used to. But I would say, like, for a guy that's coming in, like, understand, like, hey, the language that we've told you now is that we all speak at baseline is the TCCC guidelines, right? We all talk that and we all solve problems initially that way. If you don't know those, it makes it hard for you to kind of to add value, I guess, to our stuff operationally, because you're kind of missing a huge piece of the pie. All the regulations that determine like joint operations, like the Army's is ADP 4-02, and then the joint is JP 4-02. They both specify TCCC as being like the thing that we use to treat trauma patients. So that's something that you could start off to be successful. But then, you have something to offer us. Like we would love to get all the knowledge you can. We as Ranger medics, again, we do medicine. That is our job. All of us are generally interested in medicine with very few outliers. We want to know more. I remember as a private, as an NCO, you get busy, you start kind of getting into the whole like company operations things, like trying to support your commander, trying to do this, trying to do that, and you kind of lose sight of it a little bit. But getting back to that real clinical piece, the hard, like, hey, what is the value of giving this corticosteroid topically versus this other corticosteroid that like matters, and it's something that you can really affect your guy. What is something, hey, physical therapist, that I can do, because I'm going to be the first touch point for my guy. What is something that I can do that can help him out, right? Physical therapy is something specifically in the last 10 years that's changed quite a bit. It's a lot less hands-on and a lot more like just figuring out what's going on with your patient, talking to them, talking about who they are. This like whole like biological psychosocial kind of approach to things. It's complicated, and a lot of medics, we're taught a very kind of rigid medical model about things, but we're not taught about like the human being in front of us. And I think that if a doc can convey that this human being is more than just like a group of symptoms and like a whole organism in front of you, that's like a pretty cool thing. And they get that training. They know that they can convey it. Guys are interested in it, but I think it requires you to be somewhat of a salesman to do it. But it matters. Building rapport in our communities, I think, is like, that's it. We don't mission. We're not rapport builders, Rangers. Not like SF is, or not like the MSOTs are. But but in our organization, that matters. How you're perceived by other people really matters. So I think doing the classic new guy thing, and I'm not good at this, to be honest, but the classic successful new guy thing of just kind of shutting up and listening. What do I need to, how can I add value here? What can I bring to the table?